Morning, everyone, and welcome to the Maroon and Gray Saturday Show. I had to think about what I was going to call it. So last night we had our first ball game, and I was really thinking, well, is this the Maroon and Gray on the road? Is this the Maroon and Gray Saturday Show? What is this? But yes, this is the 13th edition of the Maroon and Gray Saturday Show. We have a full show today. We've got three different guests here. We've got the junior ROTC program from White County High School. Then we've got boys bowling. Then after that, we have Mia Powers with girls basketball. A huge matchup last night between them. And between us and Cookville and basketball, which we'll talk about that here a little bit later on in the show. But just got a full show. Got a lot of things going on right now. We got the World Cup going on right now as well. I know our guys are playing right now against the Netherlands. I don't know the score yet. Nobody say anything. But I'm sure that's going great for them. And just all kinds of things going on in the world. But today, we're starting off today. Now, I've been trying to get the junior, make sure I get this right, JRTC on for a little bit, but they're so busy on Saturdays. They do a lot of color guard events. They do a lot of different events, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about that. But we've probably been planning this show for almost a month and a half now. Just like, hey, well, let's try to get a date. Let's try to get a date. Try to get a date. And then before we went on the Thanksgiving Day break, we finally got to pencil one down. We weren't even sure then because you guys are really busy. High demand here for you guys, so I'm glad to have all you guys. So let's start off with some introductions. Over here, we have Lieutenant Colonel, and I've got all these titles down correct. I'm hoping so. We've got Lieutenant Colonel Aaron Johnson right here. We've got Sergeant First Class Jason Moore right here. We have Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Cameron Menard right here, and then we have Cadet Captain Eli Stewart right here. Okay, welcome to the show, guys. How are y'all today? Good. Wonderful. So now, a little bit of background. How long has White County High School had a junior ROTC program?
30 years? I'm not really sure. Sergeant Moore and I have been here for a year and a half.
Gotcha.
I think the program started in 1993.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
1993. Okay, wonderful. Okay. Now, let's see. Now, you two have been here for a year and a half, though, you said? Okay, wonderful. Now, before you were at White County, where were you at?
So we were both still on active duty.
Okay.
At our respective duty stations. My last duty station was as a professor of military science at New Mexico Military Institute. So I worked with the senior ROTC.
Okay.
You see them there's 274 colleges across the country that host Army ROTC at the college level.
Okay.
And so I was at one of those schools. Now, New Mexico Military Institute is a military junior college, which means they have a 2-year commissioning program. There's 4 of them in the country, and I just happen to be one in New Mexico.
Okay, sounds good.
My last duty assignment was at Fort Hood, Texas, as a military advisor.
Okay. That's awesome. Well, it's such an honor to have you guys here. And also, before you even go any further, thank you for you guys' services. I know. Hopefully, maybe one day these guys will have those same aspirations. But thank you for your service. Thank you for what you've done. I know it runs deep in my family. My father was Special Forces in Vietnam. Crazy story about that. He was in Special Forces when he was around 19 years old, really young. Then he gets out of the military until he was almost 40. Goes back in the Guard. The next year, 9/11 hits.
Oh, wow.
So in his 50s, he had his tour in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too. All those years in Vietnam, he was Special Forces, doing all these different things. Never got injured badly. Goes to Afghanistan and got blown up in a convoy. So, but he's fine. He's alive. But it's like that. All those years, and then you get over here, and then all of a sudden you get it's just. But all those years fighting in Vietnam, different things, and all of a sudden, but it's dangerous all the times. And the sacrifices you guys make are just. Can't put into words. I mean, because you never know when that's going to happen. You never know when this is going to happen, and even what seems like a safe scenario may not be a safe scenario. So we do appreciate you guys' service. Now, how long were y'all in the military all together before you got to White County?
So for me, it is 23 years total.
Okay.
With 21 years on active duty, and then I did 2 years in the Texas National Guard while I was finishing up school.
Okay. Good.
I had 23 years as well, but I was kind of like him. I was originally active duty from 98 to 2002, and then left the active duty, went to the Guard for 5 years, and then came back active duty after that 5 years.
Gotcha. So, what about you guys? Aspirations? Are y'all? Is this something that y'all like to be a part of in the high school level, and then go on to in your college years, or what's y'all's aspirations?
So I plan on going to college ROTC, and in order to become a pilot in the Marines.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go through Marine Corps ROTC.
Okay.
Then commission.
Okay. Good.
I think about going the enlisted route as just going in as would be E3 in the Navy, just working way up from there.
Okay. Awesome. Now, so I have been at a high school that has had an ROTC program, but of course I didn't really get to interview them back then as much. I know I was at Haywood High. The other two schools I was at didn't have a program like this, which I think is so cool. We do have a program like this. I'm not even sure if a lot of smaller schools have these programs as much. I don't know. In West Tennessee, not as much, but I know that.
So it's really interesting you say that. So Army ROTC is of course one of the branches. It's sponsored by the Army, and you have high schools throughout the country that have Navy, Marines, even Coast Guard, now Air Force, and then Space Force. They've converted a couple of Air Force into Space Force ROTC cadet or junior ROTC programs, and with Army Cadet Command, it's run by a 2-star general.
Okay.
And so they're responsible for the junior ROTC programs at the high school, and then of course the college ROTCs, the senior ROTCs, the colleges, and they're looking at expanding junior ROTC to 250 schools across the country for the next 5 years. So 50 schools a year for the next 5 years, so 250 schools. Originally, junior ROTC was meant to reach kind of the different ends of the spectrum. Inner city, right? And so you go to places like Atlanta, Baltimore, Detroit, and they have a lot of, Chicago has a lot of Army junior ROTC programs.
Okay.
And then you have the other end of the spectrum where it's more rural, right? And really kind of not so much in between, but it's those two ends of the spectrums that they're really trying to reach.
Okay.
And like I said, they have junior ROTC programs all over the country, sponsored by the Army, and it's kind of weird with them how they pay for stuff and what they, and how our pay works. The school district gets paid from the Army, and the school district pays us. And then of course you have, like I said, the Navy, Air Force, Marines, and they have their own programs for that.
Okay. So I know a lot of times they're very. I think typically out in public when you just talk about junior ROTC programs, they think about, oh yeah, I've seen them at the basketball game, or I've seen them at the football game, or I've seen them at Veterans Day celebrations. But what is a typical week? Well, and that's with the out in public stuff. So before we even get to the public stuff, what does a week of ROTC look like typically in high school? What is that? What's your Monday through Friday throughout the day? I mean, is it a lot of calisthenics? Is it a lot of talking about this? Is it practicing for the color guard type stuff? Like what does a typical week look like for ROTC?
Well, for us being in staff, it's mostly getting jobs done depending on what we're doing, like for events in the program.
Gotcha.
Other stuff. But for everyone else, it's mostly they all do the same stuff. But.
Okay, gotcha.
The schedule we have set up right now is in the fall here we have a lot of parades. So every Monday we'll take the classes out on the field in March.
Okay.
And then Tuesdays and Thursdays we have book curriculum that we go through. It's books that are from JRTC, the textbooks from JRTC, talking about basically what for the year ones is what is JRTC and how it helps them. And then Wednesdays are uniform days, so we spend time doing uniform inspections on everyone. And Friday we always try to have a guest speaker come in from outside the organization, from outside the military, that talks about different aspects of careers or jobs that they can have outside of high school.
Gotcha. Now, have you ever seen, in y'all's experience so far, have you ever seen it to where, because I'm sure there's this idea of we're all together here with this. Have you ever seen, and I don't even know the correct word here, but have you ever seen cadets or different people that are in your group that you had them in there, you talked to them about different things, and they decided, you know what, I really do like this, but I would like to try it with the Navy, or I'd like to try it with the Air. Like, has there been situations where it's like, I really love the structure. I really love serving my country, but maybe some of these guests come in and have you ever seen those guests help sway the decision for somebody?
So yes, we have, the idea behind that is, first of all, just for clarification, Junior ROTC is not a military recruiting program.
Okay,
It's sponsored-
right, yeah.
and people think, oh yeah, all these guys are going into the army or whatever, and that's not the case. It's a citizenship program, right? So the mission of Junior ROTC is to promote young people to become better citizens. The way we see that happening is, hey, if you join the military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, Space Force, whatever, then that's great. More power to you. Congratulations. If you want to still go out and serve, with the understanding that you go to the recruiter, right, and maybe there's something medically, maybe there's something that disqualifies you from the military, from a medical aspect or some other aspect, right? There's other ways you can serve, and so we've had everything from state police, we've had local police, we've had Derek Dale, who's our SRO, come in and talk to them. We've had corrections officers that work from the prison. We've had rescue squad, right, to come in and show, hey, there's more than just military. Yes, you're in a junior ROTC program. Yes, once a week. You're kind of learning some military structure with the marching and whatnot. But at the same time, there are so many other ways you can go and serve. You can go and put on a police uniform, and you still have a structure, right? But you can go and serve. You can be an EMS dispatcher.
Gotcha.
There's other ways you can serve your community, right? Your city, your state, in those capacities without having to put on a military uniform. And if you, in some cases, you may do both. Hey, join the National Guard Reserve, and then you go to school, and get a job in, some type of service type organization.
Gotcha. So it really is promoting service. It's a cool way to introduce that. We don't always push that enough. We don't always talk about that, how we can serve our country in all kinds of different ways and aspects like that. So I think that's always, like I said, and a lot of this is such new to me, just talking to folks and getting to talk to these programs. And it's such a fascinating, I feel like I learn something every week getting to do all this. But now, let's talk about a few things. Y'all do have I don't like to use the word, I'm not sure if the word hierarchy is right, but there are titles you earn, there are certain levels. So let's go over that. So what's the levels, the bases that students can receive?
So our rank structure is basically the same as the Army's, minus like general ranks and all that.
Gotcha.
But we have a lot of positions throughout the program, like whether it's normal class or staff. Like he's our S2, so he's our safety officer.
Okay.
So he's in charge of like keeping track of rifles that we have and doing risk assessment for any events we go do or stuff like that. We have like S1 through 8.
S1 through 8. Okay.
They all have different jobs for staff. In like normal classes, there's like the platoon sergeants and platoon leaders that are over a small group of, how many would you say, Sergeant? They're over a group of?
It's structured just like the military structure where you have the school's basically a battalion element where under the battalion we have companies and there are cadets that are in charge of those companies. And under those companies we have platoons that you have cadets in charge of those platoons. And so as they move up through the program, they become in charge, or they take over leadership of other cadets in the program. So the 2, 3, and 4 year cadets will be in charge of the first year cadets. Cadet Bernard there is our battalion commander, so he's the highest ranking cadet in the school right now.
Awesome. Now, what year are you?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior. Okay, well, so that makes sense. You'd be a senior, right? Yeah. So, and are you a sophomore?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior. Both of you are seniors. Okay, great. So have y'all been in it 4 years?
Yeah, all 4 years.
That's awesome. Now, what made y'all want to get? What was what made y'all decide? Hey, I'd like to try this. I think it'd be really neat to do this.
I want to try it because I've always wanted to like go into the military.
Gotcha.
So I figured help me out and figure out where exactly I want to go.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I started because originally my older sister was in it. She was in it for 4 years, and she was battalion commander.
Okay.
And I was like, as I was getting older, getting into high school, I was looking. I was like, well, maybe I can use some discipline and stuff from the program. So I joined it, and then I kept getting higher rank, and it just trapped me in it.
Gotcha, gotcha. Now, when they first start off, or at the start of the year, is there a camp process? Is there a lot of calisthenics and stuff like that, or is it?
No, there's no like any type of indoctrination boot camp, anything like that.
Gotcha.
We just don't have the time or capacity to do anything like that. We do have. It's just like any other class, right? You know, freshman year, day one, they start off, and again, people join for various reasons. You know, hey, my parents told me to do this. Hey, my brother, sister, something I'm interested in. You know, whatnot. I'm looking at doing this possibly after high school, and it gives them a small taste of what they could encounter when they go, if they decide to join the military. And so it's it's a great opportunity. We do have JCLC, which is 5-day summer camp, and all the high schools do it at various places, you know, throughout the country. But for us, we do it at a National Guard training post up in Kentucky.
Okay.
And so because of COVID and pre-us, Sarmore and I, they didn't go for a couple of years. And with last year being our first year, we volunteered to take, you know, cadets, and we volunteered to be in charge of the company. We had, I think, 100 or so cadets from other schools, as well as 11 from our school, go to Kentucky to this National Guard camp. And it's a small taste. It's 4 or 5 days, and you get up early, you have to make your bed, you know, all those type of things. But then you also do like water survival. We take them to a pool, and they have trained instructors from other ROTC programs within our brigade that teach them different techniques. Right? We do half a day rappelling, which all the cadets absolutely love, because otherwise they don't get to do it. They do small land navigation, right, where they get a map, they get a compass. They do kind of a crash course on that, and they send it out. Most of the time, you can see it's 1,000 meters across an open plain or something like that. But they have to follow their compass to that point, and they're looking for a little flag on the ground and say, oh yeah, okay, I found my point. And we took the cadets last year. We had fun, right? Being in charge of that company. There's 5 companies at that location for the summer from our brigade, and we were the first company. First year, we didn't know what we were doing, but we figured it out, right, with a little bit of coaching and mentorship from our peer instructors. And then, of course, the cadets just had a blast. I mean, they still talk about it. And to us, it's really beneficial, because both Cadet Stewart and Cadet Menard went last year because they didn't have opportunities before. They came back and said, hey, freshmen, sophomores, if you didn't go, this is, and it is, it kind of brings junior RPC full circle. You can do the classroom stuff, you can do the parades, you can do, color guard or drill team or anything like that. But in order to get the real experience of junior ROTC, really kind of fill that circle, is going to JCLC. And because of capacity, and we can only take guys 1 year, right? And there's a couple sophomores or freshmen last year who said, hey, you should probably think about going. Oh, no, I'll go next year. And then when these guys came back in September or in August, they're like, man, you guys should have gone. And now they're like, we got to go. Now we have to, really get that feeling. And of course, now all the freshmen want to go.
Right.
Because all they hear is the fun stories that they had. They say, yeah, it was tough and it was this and that. And plus they get exposure from other instructors from other schools.
Right.
And a couple of weeks ago, we went to a competition. We've seen them a couple of times, but one of our peer instructors is there with the camp at us at the same time. With his cadets, was one of the TACs, and so he would go in there and yell at him, do all the Army stuff, and they see him in competition, and like, that's Harville, and they give him a hug, they give him a handshake and all this stuff, and hey guys, what's going on? And so it's kind of like a celebrity with the White County High School. Right. It doesn't work here.
Right,
It's really kind of fun, and so the cadets really, and these guys can attest to it, they really enjoy it. And so when you talk about any type of military boot camp, anything like that, that's probably about as close as we're going to get.
I got
Without
you.
physically enlisting and going off to real boot camp.
Right. Well, in a way, I guess it's also just kind of a way. This allows you to see the life a little bit and experience it for a block of the day, but you're not just fully in it yet. But then it kind of probably also helps you make that decision. You know, I think I really do like. There's probably also been some kids that have joined, and they may have done it all 4 years, but afterward they're like, you know, I don't know if that life's for me. I really enjoyed it here, but I don't know if I want it. Yeah, it probably helps to make the decision, yay or nay. And you might get some kids that, I'm all gung ho, and then they really try it out. Like, you know, this is bigger than I thought it was. But then there are probably other kids that just try it on a whim, and then by the time they're seniors, like, I want to do a career out of this, right? So a career of service and stuff like that. But that's just, how those types of things go. Now, before we go any further, how many people are involved in the program right now? How many kids are involved in the program right now?
73 right now. So about 73.
73. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that was like 20 or 30. Now, is that multiple classes?
Yes.
Okay. So, how many classes do y'all have? Like four a day? Or?
We have right now we have 3 blocks.
3 blocks.
And we have them broken down into companies. So first block is Alpha Company, third block is Bravo Company, and then fifth block is staff, which are cadet staff, which is much smaller. Again, they're primarily seniors. We have a couple of juniors in there, so that we can kind of groom them to be seniors next year and take over. And now we're actually expanding right into fourth block, and that'll be Charlie Company. And as a matter of fact, last night we had an event where we identified who the commander is going to be for that company. That was just one thing that we did as part of the overall event. We identified who the commander, who the first sergeant was going to be, uncased their guidon, right? So they have a flag that represents their company, and that's something you do like we do in the military.
Right.
When a unit cases their colors, that means either they're deploying or they're inactivating, right? And so they'll case their colors, their flag, and kind of put it in storage. Or hey, we're growing, so we have to uncase our colors. And so because we're expanding into a Charlie Company, to include Charlie Company, we actually uncased our colors in that site as part of a bigger formal ceremony.
Now, does that mean that each company has like its own signifying name, or is it just?
It's well, yeah. You use the phonetic alphabet. So you have Alpha Company, Bravo Company, Charlie, Delta, Echo, so on and so forth.
Gotcha.
Most times in the Army, companies will have names that associate with that, the letter of the alphabet. So sometimes like Bravo Bulldogs or something like that.
Gotcha.
So, Charlie Cobras and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
That's something we can incorporate if we want to, but we're doing baby steps right now. We're getting the companies organized and
Absolutely.
getting that in place.
Now, in the history of the program, is this the biggest we've ever had the program?
Not exactly sure about that. We don't know much about the history of the program. We have Cadet Menard said it was back in the 90s, and the program started. We have, by looking through all the stuff that we've had in storage, I found plaques and awards from back in like 96 or 7, I think, somewhere around there.
Gotcha.
So that we know it goes back at least that far.
Gotcha. So, but I guess it's the biggest y'all have seen here since y'all been here.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Last year, we averaged both semesters about 65, 63.
Different kids, or same kid?
All last year, both semesters. It was some new kids coming in the spring semester, some leaving from the fall semester. We've had averaging about that 63, and then this year we got more freshmen coming into the high school than we've had all last year. So we got 33. First day of school this year, we got 33 freshman cadets come in, and they seem to be retaining about that.
Gotcha.
Next semester, and then we got new ones coming in and we get this all the time where we're walking through the school, or some of our cadets walking through the school, and they bring their friends to us, or their friends come to us and say, hey, I hear what you guys are doing, and I see, we can see how you guys are working the program, and we think we like it, so we want to join. So we tell them to talk to the recruit, or talk to their, not the recruiters, talk to their counselors, and then their counselors can schedule them in the class.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Now, does every cadet, do they all work with the color guard aspect of it, or that's just some students? Now, do either one of y'all do that?
I'm on color guard. I'm on the co-captain of our color guard team. So
Okay.
color guard, we have a team, so it's
Okay.
like just like any other team in the school. We have after school practices,
Okay.
and the cadets that are on the team are the ones that are selected to do events.
Okay. Now, how many different how many different flags consist of one color guard group?
Usually just America and Tennessee flag.
Okay, just those two. Okay, gotcha. Now, are there also rifles?
Yeah, so it's American, Tennessee, and 2 rifles on either side.
Okay, gotcha.
That makes up a color guard.
And y'all all wear like a silver helmet. Is that correct? Is that? Now, what are they called?
Chrome domes.
Chrome domes. I gotcha. Sounds great. That's awesome. Now, now y'all compete throughout the year, correct? How many competitions do y'all compete in a year?
So we've been, since we've been here, again coming, inheriting the program with influenced by COVID, right? We kind of started off as squirrel, right? We have our own ideas of what we want to do, and we're incrementally increasing those. Kind of progressing past just for the color guard anyway, past the football games, basketball games, into other events. Right, getting into competitions. They do have competitions that the color guard, the drill team, the marksmanship team, the Raider team, which is more of a physical fitness challenge type team, that can compete in. And our brigade, our higher headquarters, sends out a list. Sometimes they're sponsored by other schools. Sometimes they're sponsored by the brigade, just depending on the competition. And realistically, we could probably go to a competition every weekend if we wanted to. We just don't have the money or capacity, right? Because we have to pay for all that stuff. But our brigade, it stretches from a 7th ROTC brigade, and they stretch from Michigan all the way through Tennessee. So anything in between. So Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, and then Tennessee. And again, our brigade sends out a list, and we kind of pick and choose. Right now, we're pretty centrally located. We're like, hey, this is, we want to go to Clarksville for a competition. Hey, we want to go to Chattanooga for a competition. And then, of course, we have to be able to pay for it and whatnot, right? So that's a big thing. Eventually, we like to kind of move out past that. Our brigade hosts a competition in the spring, and so we're looking at going up there, staying overnight, and that way our drill team, color guard, and rifle team can all participate in that.
Awesome. So, how many teams are there? How many different teams are in there?
So there are. It's kind of a tricky question.
Okay.
We have 4.
Okay.
We have the color guard, right? We have the drill team. We have the Raider team, like I said, as a physical fitness, and then we have the marksmanship team.
Gotcha.
Right. We could, if we wanted to, we have the capacity, which we do not right now. We could get into archery. We could get into robotics. We could get into drones.
Wow.
We could get into physical fitness. There's a whole slew of academics team. Yeah, JLab is academics team. There's orienteering. That's kind of phasing out. When I was in high school, orienteering where I was at down in South Texas was a big thing, which is map reading is more dead reckoning with a map, right, across the terrain. And there's 1 or 2 competitions they do that. They do it up in Ohio. But yeah, if we had a lot more cadets, we had a lot more instructors, we had a lot more money, then we could start getting into those things.
Gotcha.
And right now, we're just looking at taking the 4 teams that we have and really getting them to the point where, hey, we're going to go out there, we're going to compete, we're going to be competitive, and then hopefully we'll start winning trophies.
There you go.
So,
There you go.
And then,
No.
they have national competitions, right? So for the drill and color guard, the national competition is down in Daytona.
Okay.
And I got to do that got to go and see that a couple of years ago. For the Raider team, they have that down in Georgia, and it's like kind of the best of the best. Come from all over the country, and as long as they can pay and they can get there, then they they get to go and compete. And if they win, right, then they can say, hey, guess what? Our junior ROTC Raider team, drill team, color guard is the best in the country. They have the drones and the robotics. That's still kind of in the MC stage.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, the drill competitions, Raider competitions, but at the national level is a huge deal, and it's really awesome to see. And so I'm hoping, obviously not this year, but here a couple of years possibly, depending on how good we get, we can take our guys down and so they can compete in it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. It's cool to see the vision for what it's cool to see where it's been, where it is, where it's going. That's what one quick question I want to ask you before we go here. He said you're with the color guard team, correct? Well, are you with one of these specific teams?
Yes, I've been actually in 2 of the teams, which
Okay.
I've just joined drill back because my job let me function my hours. But I'm also on the marksmanship team,
Okay.
which is he's the captain of the marksmanship team.
Okay.
So we practice every Tuesdays and Thursdays when we can.
That's
if,
awesome.
If we don't have like ball games, so color guard has to do.
I got you. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on the show. I could probably ask 1,000 more questions. I know we got to keep going with different guests and stuff like that. Before we go any further as well, this is our first week to actually have our sponsors on the show as well. We would like to thank Wallace Insurance Agency, Frank's, and Cheek Insurance Agency for being a part of this show and different things like that. And we're just so proud that they help bring these kind of interviews out there to you guys. But so real quick, I want to make sure I get this right here. We got Lieutenant Colonel Aaron Johnson, Sergeant First Class Jason Moore, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Cameron Menard, and Cadet Captain Eli Stewart. Guys, thank you for coming on the show. And please come back anytime. I'd love to talk to you guys about fundraising, any kind of color guard events you have. Maybe we'll be able to even come on site one time for a color guard event. I think it'd be so cool. Thank you guys for coming so much on the show. Appreciate you guys, and once again, thank you for your service, and thank you for coming on, guys. I appreciate it. That's the Junior ROTC program here today. Y'all can, they're gonna get Bo on here next. But so that was the Junior ROTC program. I could have talked to them for another hour. I promise. There's so many cool questions, so many cool events they do, and we'll definitely have to have them on the show later on, talk more about the color guard. So we're gonna switch gears here a little bit. We've got boys bowling coming on. We got Coach Martin in the house tonight. Y'all come on. These guys have been waiting patiently. They were here early. I was so excited to see them. I looked to my left and saw Coach Martin. Yeah, y'all come on in. Y'all follow on in here. Coach, how's it going?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, look, I know y'all been sitting back there patient on your phones, watching the World Cup. Don't tell me what's going on. I know y'all been watching them patiently, just painstakingly on that one phone, watching Christian Pulisic do his thing, but don't let me know. I'll know here in a little bit. So because we got the show to do right now. But we got the bowling team in here to talk about their season. Now, look, earlier in the year, I'll tell you what. If you will sit right here, because we can't see you. You're out of the picture there. There you go. All right. If you'll go that way, just a hair. There we go. Now we can kind of see you guys a little bit better. I tell you, if you'll just kind of go that way a little bit. There you go. There you go. Now we can see everybody here. So welcome. Okay. So let's do a few quick introductions here. Now we have. Let's see here. We have Coach Martin, Sam Roberts. Which one's that? There goes Sam Roberts here, 10th grader. We got Gage Jordan. That's you. All right, 9th grader. And we got Bryson Samuels. That's 9th grade. Okay, sounds good. So got a young team here today.
I do. One of the things that I've always struggled with coaching boys bowling is I get a lot of older kids that are interested in it, because a lot of kids don't know that we have a bowling team until later on. It's not one of the most advertised sports in White County. But this year and last year we had a lot of younger kids that when we put out the announcement for if you're interested in trying out for the bowling team, we had a lot of young kids interested, and that's always good for the program when you get young guys in there that can learn how to bowl and hopefully be successful years down the road.
Absolutely. Well, it's one of those things of, when we had the girls team on, we had, let's see, who was your number one bowler in girls?
Shelby Kelly.
Yeah, she came on, and she's played 4 years. She's bowled for 4 years, and just getting to talk about her experiences and just how many times she's bowled and getting to play the Livingstons and getting to play out. So that experience was cool, but you don't always get that much experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she came from a family too that her family's always been involved with bowling. It's been one of those things that she grew up bowling. I think she came out of the womb bowling.
Right.
But that family's been so important to this program, because those kids have always taught me so much more about bowling. And for me, that's the greatest part about coaching this program is I get to learn from them. So, her brother and her older sister, both of them were phenomenal bowlers. And it's been an honor to be able to coach that family, because they're a great group of kids, great young adults, and I'm thankful for them. And Shelby's been a phenomenal bowler for us, and I'm proud of her for what she's been able to do.
Well, I think it sets a cool standard, doesn't it? Because when you get kids that bowl for 4 years and get that kind of experience, because it's one thing to do it for a year or do it for but when you have that kind of perspective of, oh yeah, I remember when this happened 3 years ago for me, or I remember when this happened, or we've had this traditional rivalry with Cookville, we've had this kind of, you have history with DeKalb, or you have history with these other schools. I mean, that's huge. I mean, not everybody maybe gets to see it. You may not have the big crowds, but I mean, there's that bowler somewhere at Stone Memorial that, like, I remember you from back my freshman year, and I'm a junior, right? So when you get to have those players have that longevity, it's a cool experience. But it's also got to be a cool experience just as a freshman. Your first year, like, what is this? I mean, of course, everybody knows about bowling, just recreational. Most people have gone to a bowling alley, but it's a whole other thing to compete in bowling at the high school level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the hard part is when you get kids to come in and they want to try out for bowling, they think of it as just that recreational sport.
Right.
They don't consider it as that competitive sport that you see in high school. A lot of these kids, they come in, they just want to throw the ball down the lane.
Right.
They don't know much more than that.
Right.
So it's interesting when you get, some of these kids that, when we play some of these other teams in our district, like Upperman and Jackson and Cumberland County and Stone Memorial, those kids live at the bowling alley.
Yeah.
And they've lived there for years.
Yeah.
They compete in leagues, their family bowled, everything like that. In White County, a lot of these kids are not exposed to that. So when you get a lot of these younger kids come in and they're interested in bowling, they don't understand the sport.
Right.
They just think of it as that recreational game. So a lot of that it comes down to experience. It comes down to getting out there and learning the competition of the game and realizing there's a lot more to it than just throwing the ball down the lane, hitting those 10 pins.
Right.
So, that's the hard part as a coach. And, Coach McFerrin can tell you the same thing, is integrating those skills and those philosophies and being able to make those adjustments and hit your marks as a bowler, especially the younger guys, because younger guys, they think they're strong enough and they're good enough to sling that puppy down there, 20 miles per hour and knock those pins down. But there's a lot more to it. There's a consistency. There's a technique that they have to get down. And until they get that, there's going to be some struggle.
Well, there's also, one thing we talked extensively when we had the girls on was there's this idea, there's a mentality change. Even if you had the proper form, which most people don't have proper form going into high school bowling. I'm probably, that's an assumption here. I know I don't have good form when I do it. I'm just happy if I get in the 80s and 120s. So either way, but there is proper form, there is proper all these things. But I think there's also a mentality change, because one thing we were talking about with the girls is, so let's say you have five bowlers that are scored, correct?
Well, we have the American 10, you have 6.
He's 6, and then the
Bakers you play
5, right? And the top 5 count in the American 10, correct?
Well, it's in the American 10, you kind of go against the person you're bowling against. So,
that's right.
So you earn a point through that, and then the Bakers game is really team versus team. So the team that has the most pin total wins the point for that.
But that being said, so in the American 10, and I think even in the Bakers, situation could be whereas let's say Sam, is it you, Sam? Let's say Sam's bowling a bad day. He's having a bad match. He's like, well, I guess I've just kind of thrown this one. But the thing is, your bad day with his good day might be the difference. So you really can't just mentally check out. You have to try to get because your worst day by a few pins may be combined with his best day, and all of a sudden you end up winning the match. So you really have to become kind of selfless, because some days I'm sure, man, you're throwing them down there, it's awesome, right? But other days not. It's just things just aren't going your way. The pins aren't falling. So
and I mean, when it comes to that, you got to think of it like this too. Each frame, you have the possibility to get a spare. So even if you mess up on the first ball, you have that opportunity to make that spare, which that plays dividends to how that next ball goes.
Yes.
Because if you get that spare, you get that extra 10 pins. So for us, I always try to preach to our guys is if you mess up on your first spot, get your spare, because that's going to be the difference sometimes in winning and losing. So that's where going back to what you said, that mentality of, if you mess up, it's okay, because you have people behind you that can back you up. You've got to finish what you started and hope that everybody else can do what they're supposed to do.
But there's also, I'm sure, the pressure of that, of you have people that are backing you up, but also you have to remember that if I just mentally check out here, I could cost them.
Yeah. And you could probably ask them, they've had a lot of experience with that this year. It's one of those things where every game, and this is something I preach with my kids all the time, is that, it's not where you start, it's where you finish.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the most important things about being a coach is you often go in with expectations, but sometimes it don't start that way. You try to preach to your kids that, there's a lot of games left, and there's a postseason to play for, right?
Absolutely.
So, it's not about where you go into the game and you struggle. You can always make adjustments. So with these kids, even if they try to want to check out, we try to make sure as a team we keep each other up. We keep each other in the game, understand situations, and I mean that goes with experience, like you said. That competition side rather than the recreational side makes a big difference in our kids.
Absolutely. Because of course, if I throw a basketball down the lane and I'm with a bunch of buddies, they're just gonna laugh. So right, and then you go to the next one, and you might get a little bit competitive, but everybody's just having fun. But when you have a real team depending on you, that's a cool thing. That's a cool experience. And just to get to it at the high school level, wearing White County on your jersey, I mean that's a special thing. You can bowl your whole life, but you only get 4 years to bowl for White County, and that's a special experience. Now, so real quick, tell me your grades again one more time.
I'm in 10th.
You're in 10th. Is this your second year to play or first year?
Second.
Second, okay. And you're ninth, and you're ninth. Now, I guess did y'all grow up playing bowling much, or was that just something you got into here recently, or?
Yeah, recently here. It was during summer of 8th grade. I just started bowling with my friend. You know Pianki? Austin Pianki?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got me into bowling actually. So,
Okay.
And then we both just joined the team and just here.
Gotcha.
So when I was in like 5th grade, my brother, he bowled all the time.
Okay.
He'd always take me with, so I always wanted to learn how to get better at bowling, and since probably 7th grade, I've been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bowl.
Gotcha.
It's something I want to do. Yeah.
Good. Now, for going into your sophomore year, going into year 2, what do you know now that you wish you'd known your freshman year, or what's changed from your sophomore to freshman year?
Take your time when you get up to the line and stuff. When I was a freshman, I just like to go.
Yeah.
Because I play basketball and
Okay, right.
like sports where you gotta get your adrenaline pumping.
Yeah,
You gotta go.
Right.
And now I know just sit up at the line, breathe a little bit, focus on your spot, and
Right.
get the ball there. Because that's
Right.
the main goal. Because if
Right.
you miss that spot, it don't matter if your ball doesn't have enough hook at the end of the lane. If you miss that first spot, the rest of it don't even matter.
Okay, now explain to me, and that's not a word we used when I discussed with the girls bowling team, which was a great interview. They did a great job with that. But of course, I'm still learning myself here. I get to every week. I feel like when I get to interview different sports that I haven't interviewed before, I learn something every week, and that's such a cool thing. When you say spot, let's tell the crowd what you're talking about with that.
Well, you got the dots, right, where you stand.
Yes.
And then you got your arrows down there.
Okay. Yes.
Well, it's kind of like bowling's kind of a game of angles.
Okay.
So, and there's oil on the lanes in different spots.
I had no clue though. Okay.
Yeah. So there's more there's more oil in the middle than there is on the outside. And whenever you spin the ball like we do, it's all about which way you hit that oil. And at the end, it dries out. So if you hit more of an oil pattern, your ball's going to go farther down the lane, and then it'll come back later, if you get what I'm saying. But if you're on the outer side, it'll hook a lot earlier.
Oh, really? I never knew. I mean, I knew the lanes were really clean, really pretty, and I guess polished, if that was a word for that. But is there a certain oil that gets sprayed on it or something like that?
There is. There's these two different patterns. There's a house shot and there's a sports shot. So, when it comes to, if you've ever been at a bowling alley, you see these big machines they put out in front of these lanes. They kind of slowly go down and come back. What those machines are doing is they're laying a certain oil pattern. So there's a house shot. And there's a house shot that bowling alleys usually lay down for their bowlers, their bowling leagues and stuff. Competitions usually bowl in a sports shot or a sport pattern, which is usually it's heavier in the middle, and then it starts to thin out as you go further down the lane. It's kind of like a pyramid looking oil pattern. So you try to figure out a mark, and there's certain strategies that you can teach bowlers about where to start your mark. It's called the 31 rule. So we're not going to get into specifics on that, but there's a way that you can kind of gauge that you want to aim at a certain mark and expect your ball to reach its breaking point and cut back in, depending on how reactive your ball is. So, one thing I try to tell my kids is, when you're practicing, we usually get a 10-minute practice before our matches start, is you want your goal to be consistently hit your mark okay, for whatever pattern we're playing on. Most of the time, it's just a house shot, unless we're playing in like a district tournament or something like that. But you try to play for your mark, and depending on how you're hitting your mark and where your ball's breaking, if you're missing the left side of the 1-3 pocket, if you're hitting Brooklyn's side, you try to make your adjustment. So it's kind of like what Sam said, it's all about angles. So if you move a little bit to your left, if you're missing left, you tend to get more into the pocket, and you just adjust your game from there.
Now, I've always, something I've always, this makes me picking things up and just playing, having fun, is your best, like, entrance into it between that, I guess, the 3-pin and the 6-pin? What's the strategy there?
Well, your strategy, if you're a righty, your strategy is you want to go for the 1-3 pocket, which is the 1 is that first head pin.
Okay.
And then the 3 is right there to the right of it.
Okay.
So you want to try to go in at a certain angle there, so that way you get a good domino effect, those pinfalls. Because when they hit, they kind of explode into each other and knock them all down. If you don't hit that, that's when you tend to leave a lot of splits, where you get one on one side, one on the other side, and you leave a gap in between. So, the hard part is, especially with girls, boys, it's a lot easier to get them to want to bowl with a hook, or put a spin on their ball because they think it looks cool.
Right.
I think we've all been to a bowling alley where you see a bunch of kids out there grabbing a ball and they're just slinging it and spinning it.
Right.
So with girls, the hard part is with them is they want to throw the ball straight because that's just the easiest way to bowl.
Right.
The hard part is when you throw it straight, your ball tends to hit that head pin and the pinfall doesn't happen the way you want it to. So you try to teach kids to throw with a hook. That way it goes into that 1-3 pocket and you get that good pinfall. So, it's hard because kind of like what Sam was saying, your roll pattern really dictates where you have to throw. So it's hard learning and be consistent and get your body in a good, posture, good technique. I mean, all those things take time. And that's the hard part is, when you talk about that recreational side, a lot of kids go up there and they just want to grab the ball and go.
Yeah.
It's teaching that technique. And it takes time, it takes practice, and it takes being around other people that are motivated, that want to be better. And that's the good thing about these kids. And that's why I love coaching them, is because they actually, when they join, it's about being fun. But then they start getting competitive and they want to win. They want to be better.
Right.
So they grow as a team. Yeah. And it's one thing I always tell them is no matter what, if we win or lose, we're going to represent White County the best we can.
Right.
So you guys are going to be a team each time you go out there. And that's what makes it fun.
That's what makes me absolutely. Well, I met kids that, in the past, I had a girl soccer player one time. She was talking about, because I was talking about anybody can join, but who's going to continue and make it serious. And she had become an assistant coach of mine, and we were talking about this, and we were talking about, I was like, some kids just join because they want something to do. And the kid said, this coach said, Coach, I just wanted to leave the house. But then I actually fell in love with soccer, and I loved it. So I'm sure bowling, you get kids in there that just think hit the first pin or just for fun, and then all of a sudden and some of them I'm sure play all 4 years, and it's always that way for them. But there's some of them I'm sure that start, they're like, no, I want to do something. I'll make some history here. I want to beat Stumble Memorial. I want to beat Cookville. I want to have that feeling of moving up and district championships and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first girl we've ever had in White County history to go to state was a girl by the name of Allie Rose. She graduated several years back. That girl, when she joined, she just joined to play and have fun. But she got so competitive and she got so good about being consistent, about throwing that ball straight and hitting that pocket, that she was the best bowler in our district. So she got to advance to the district tournament back several years ago when the format was a little bit different. And for me, that was one of those aha moments as a coach, because you kind of go, this is what happens when you get kids that, even though they join for maybe not the most competitive, sport top reasons, but it turns out that way. That's the rewarding part of it, Sam right here, this kid right here, he bowled last year, phenomenal bowler. He was good, he was skilled, but from last year to this year, he's so much better. He's grown as a bowler. And he bowled last year because he has a good group of friends on the team that he enjoyed playing with. But this kid right here is the most competitive kid I've been around. I knew his brother, I know him. They're just competitive, and they're good, and they're talented, and they're skilled. But the hard part is when they're that young is the mentality side, like we talked about earlier. So if they can kind of get over that mentality side and they can learn to, learn the game a little bit more, they get better. So
now, how many bowlers on the boys team right now?
There are currently 11 bowlers.
Okay. Now, but 6 compete in a competition, correct?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Now, do y'all go through like weekly practices of competing to try to see who those 6 are?
Well, we usually take the beginning part of the year when we practice and we're starting to learn the game, kind of for me to gauge who I feel like it's going to give us the most potential to win.
Gotcha.
And it's hard, don't get me wrong, it's hard. It's like any other coach. When you're playing a sport, sometimes picking those best 6 or 5, it can be a headache because sometimes you just don't know until you throw them out there who's going to be the most competitive and give you the most chance to win. But, I think the biggest thing for me is consistency. The kids that I can see that can consistently put up good games. And these 3 right here are usually some of my most consistent players. So usually the first 5 or 6 weeks of practice for us, we usually practice about 1 day a week. That's when I usually understand who's probably going to be playing and who's going to be playing that bench role that comes in if somebody's struggling or somebody's really missing their mark.
Now, has there ever been a scenario where you had a bowler that you go to a certain venue and it's like this bowler is just not very good here, or this bowler for some reason is really good when we go to X venue? Have you ever had this sub? Listen, we're going with Charlie this time, or hey, listen, we're going with whoever.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, I think sometimes too, if you go to a certain lane where the lanes are really dry, like for example, we bowl at Plateau Lanes in Crossville, and their lanes tend to be much different than ours. The conditions are very different. They usually are a little bit drier, and they break a lot harder. So a lot of our kids, they throw a lot of rep and a lot of hook, so they tend to start missing Brooklyn's side a lot. And sometimes for me, I may have to have that mentality of, okay, this kid's just not hitting his mark. I may have to put this kid in that throws the ball a little bit straighter and hope it gives a better pinfall. Because if they're missing left a whole lot and they're only getting 2 or 3 pins and they can't pick up that spare, that's where you as a coach have to go, what's going to be best for that situation to get us the most pinfall. Because overall pin total matters a lot when it comes to bowling. I mean, that could be the difference between winning or losing. So yeah, absolutely.
Now, when you do you sub in game or just for the Bakers match from the first one? How does the substitutions work?
You can sub during a regular American 10. So we played 1 American 10 and 3 Bakers. We played 5 Bakers. We played 1 American 10 and 5 Bakers. So what happens is with American 10, you can sub out whenever you want to.
Okay.
So there are certain rules there that you have to follow. But if, for example, if Bronson here is bowling for the 5th frame and 6th frame, he's just starting to really struggle, I could bring in Gage. If Gage was, on the practice lanes, I could bring him in. Bakers is a little bit different because with the Bakers format, you have 5 bowlers against 5. So what they do is they bowl really 2 frames for the entirety of the Bakers game. So for example, if Gage is my leadoff bowler, he'll bowl the 1st frame and the 6th frame. If Bronson were my 2nd frame bowler, he would bowl the 2nd and the 7th frame. So what I would end up doing is, if Bronson bowled a terrible 2nd frame, if he left the first ball, he didn't knock down any pins, and the 2nd ball he knocked down 3, and I look at him and I go, this isn't just going to cut it. I may have to go to somebody else and say, you're going to go in for the 7th frame for him and bowl that 7th frame. Well, that's why I kind of like that Bakers format, because it's that team reliability, kind of what we talked about earlier, where it depends on what the person before you does, and it depends on what you do for the person after you. So you want that, that continuity, that continuous, spare, strike, whatever you can get, because that's what's going to make your team be successful at the end of that game. Because if you don't, if you get a strike and then you leave an open frame and you can't get a spare, that's going to cost you.
So as a team, not as a number 1 or number 5, but just as a team, what does a district champion average look like?
200.
200. He had that solid too. I didn't even he didn't even, it was just 200. That was awesome. I love that.
We see it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, it goes with that experience. I mean, these kids, when they're at their bowling alley, they're playing at their bowling alley, playing with their friends, you're averaging the 120s, 130s, So you start getting that competition, and you start seeing these kids come out bowling 200 plus, and you go, wow, there's a lot more to it. So, yeah, I mean, to be district champions, you really need to have a successful team, 1 through 6, 1 through 5, that can average 180 plus. That's going to make you the most competitive. But I mean, the best teams that we've ever played against in our district has always been the most complete teams.
Gotcha.
You can have 1 or 2 really good guys, but if your other 4 or other 3 are not as good as those top 2, that can really cost you a game. So, I mean, Upper Mid High School was one of the best teams we've always played in our district, and they've always had such complete teams. And I love the coaches in our district. They're a great group of people, and they always prepare those kids to be a complete team. And it also hurts us as White County because Upper Mid, again, those kids live at their house.
Right.
That bowling alley is is they're there 24/7 if they can. They would sleep there.
Right.
They let them. But yeah, I mean that's you have to be consistently hitting 180 plus to be a district champion in our district.
Gotcha. And what about like have you been to you ever like visit or like we haven't been to state and boys bowling yet?
Not as a team.
Not as a team. Have we had individual bowlers?
Well, this is actually the very first year in my county history we've ever had a boy that's qualified for state. We actually had individual state qualifiers yesterday in Smyrna.
Oh wow! I didn't know is the season almost over?
It is. It's almost over. We actually start district tournaments in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So in 2 weeks, hopefully we can kind of figure out where we are as a team. But yesterday in Smyrna, Kyler Samuels, which is Brosnan's brother, he's a senior who could not be here today, but he finished 5th out of I believe it was 136 bowlers or something. How many? 30 what?
32.
132 out of 132 bowlers, he finished 5th.
Wow.
So, and he did incredible. He was on top of his game all day. He had a game that he struggled. We bowled 6 games. And all these boys right here competed as well. And they did a great job. Again, these are youth.
Right.
These are our younger bowlers. They don't have that experience. But he has actually competed in much more competitive, tournaments and stuff. So for him, this was a normal mindset.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
But, he showed up, he showed out, he did phenomenal, and he's the first kid, boys side, who's actually qualified for state. And we're super excited for him. I hope he does a great job in January.
So that'll be in January. So he's qualified for state there, but as a team, we're going to look to compete in the districts in a couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
Now, is there a district then region or?
There is. So the way it works is out of our 7 teams that are in our district, the top 2 advance to regionals.
Gotcha.
Now, in the past, we've had a couple of teams that have finished in the regular season as number 2 seed, which, for White County, that's a feat. The last several years has been more of a struggle with that, and that's perfectly fine. The thing is, though, we're usually 4th or 5th seed, and it's hard to kind of get past that 1 and 2 seed when you have those 5 or 6 guys that are, regularly bowling 180 plus, but we're hoping to go in there and make some noise and see what happens.
Gotcha. Now, what's our average been so far this season?
As a team, probably about a 160,
Okay.
160, 170.
So kind of on the cusp, just almost getting there.
We're getting there.
Gotcha,
And again, the one thing I look at, the hard part will be is we're probably going to lose our number 1 bowler next year when Kyler graduates. But it kind of goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. If I can get a young group of guys that are serious and want to compete and grow and get better, the world's ours to seize if we can practice and work as a team and bowl over the summer and get them involved in leagues and learn from people who have bowled all their lives. If you go to a bowling alley, you'll see people in their 90s still out there bowling.
Absolutely.
And that is a world of knowledge that you can learn from, that you can lean on. And these kids, if they were just if they get involved and they have a passion for it, they can get better, and that can hopefully lead us to down the road being more successful.
Exactly. Well, you've got 3 underclassmen on the show, and that's awesome to have that much interest and stuff like that. So, that's good things for the future. Good things for it's cool to have a legacy, but also have that present and that future group that's coming on up and going to do some competitive things. So now, do we have any more regular season matches before the district tournament?
We do not. We finished our regular season, and our overall record, I believe, was 5-7. So, for us, that's a victory. My expectations were not, I would say, as high as I probably would have wanted to be at the beginning of the season, because I think we had a lot of youth, and I knew that would be a lot of learning curve. But I am very proud of these boys.
Absolutely.
The fact that they show up every day, they try and they work hard, that's, again, I'm proud of them for ending up 5-7. I think that's a great record.
So real quick, I have to ask first, what's been the coolest experience for you so far at a bowling match, in a bowling game? What's been the cool moment for you?
The coolest experience is probably noticing how many people that I know that I would have never thought that would be bowling.
Okay.
You go out there and see bowling, it's like just a fun sport, just recreational. And then I go to games and I'm like, oh, I know you, or
Gotcha.
seeing all those people out there.
That's awesome.
Probably, I don't know, probably just yesterday at the state, seeing how many people also have a passion for bowling and everything.
Yeah,
There was so many people there.
Yeah, cool state tournament, like atmosphere type and perspective and stuff like that.
I like seeing people that take it kind of as serious as I do.
Yes, yes.
Like, I love to win, and I love seeing other people try and challenge me to win.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
That's about my favorite part.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for on the show. Please don't be a stranger. Come back on anytime you want to come on and talk about bowling. I definitely need to try to get at least an update when the district tournament happens.
I'll let you know.
Let me know what's going on, and hopefully we can get. Now, who's the bowler who qualified for state?
Kyler Samuels.
Hopefully we'll have to get him on here maybe before he goes to state and everything like that, and cheer him on. And that's a big accomplishment for the program to make that kind of history. And but I appreciate you guys coming on the show. But before we go as well, I'd like to mention our sponsors real quick. We do have Wallace Insurance Agency, Franks, and Cheek Insurance Agency. They've been our first sponsors for this show, and we're just so happy to have them. And so we appreciate them helping to make this show, because there's so many cool things we get to learn about boys bowling. And again, next year as well, in season, y'all don't be strangers. Come on, if y'all want to come on every week, I'd love to talk more about Warrior Bowling, because you guys, it's just always been a fun interview to talk about and just keep up with, and so. But either way, so glad to have you guys on the show, and good luck with the district tournament coming up here. And of course, I guess you'll take a holiday break, right, and then you'll come back and then compete for the big postseason. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. Absolutely, Coach. Thank you, yes, sir. All right, sounds good. It's our boys bowling team here for White County. So we're going to switch gears here. They've got a huge postseason coming up, and I can't wait to get some more updates from that here a little bit later. All right, so again, no one's tried to ruin any scores for me. I don't know what's going on. I think my sister's tried to text me a few times. But either way, so we've got one more guest here today. We've got girls basketball here. One of our first, I think we've got 6 seniors in the girls basketball team. Today we're going to start off with Nia Powers. Come on. How's it going?
It's going good.
There you go. All right, so this is Nia Powers in the show. Of course, y'all all know her. So a senior, 4-year basketball player for the high school team.
Yes,
and I'm sure you played 30 years in junior high and everything like that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And also, I've been told as well, you play tennis as well.
I do.
That's awesome. Yes, of course. Yeah, I think the tennis coach over there, I think he's a pretty cool guy. He's new. But I think if they give him a chance, I think him and Topher are going to do some good things.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. So, of course, tough game last night. You know, something though that we were doing the Maroon and Gray on the road. So we were on, so that's the first time I've streamed a game for White County. I was nervous as I could be.
Yeah.
Because I've done it before back in West Tennessee, but coming here, it's like, okay, new, it's a rival game. Something I didn't think about until after I talked to somebody, but I knew this because I've known this for years. It always usually happens at the state tournament, but not in high school, not in the regular season games. When you have a basketball goal rolled in, that's a different perspective shooting. Mm-hmm. That changes the background of your shooting, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be tougher. A lot of times need a lot of time to adjust to that. Mm-hmm. So just shooting in that kind of environment is a very different environment.
We've always said for years that Cookville's gym, it's just different to play in. It's always just a really hard gym to play in. It's the atmosphere and it's just the goals and the court and everything, getting used to it.
Yep. Of course, there was a lot of loud from both crowds, and both crowds are having fun and stuff. And both the parents and the spirit sections, it was fun. It's a cool environment. But they talk about this at the collegiate game when they do like NCAA tournament games. When they start going to the stadiums, all of a sudden the shooting starts to drop because they're used to playing in a gym where there's a wall, and now there's a crowd behind them, and there's these pulled up goals. And I didn't think about that until somebody mentioned it after the game, and I looked up and I said, they're not laying on the wall, they're not hanging from the top up here. So I'm sure that's got to change the shooting. But I got to tell you, and this was such a cool thing because game didn't start off quite like we wanted to.
Yeah.
But then, all of a sudden, I think we got down.
It was quite a bit.
It got down by quite a bit, but all of a sudden, y'all started playing good. Y'all just kept playing defense. And I sat there and I was saying on the show, I said, if any more of our shots were falling, we might have beaten this team by 20. Mm-hmm. I mean, because I think they were getting nervous. They were like, oh my God. They were taking timeouts because it was like 15, 14, 10, 9. I mean, it was getting closer and closer and closer. And they eventually pulled away, but I mean, not till the very end. So last night, what spurred that resurgence?
Yeah, well, I think we came out and we just weren't ready, and so they gave it to us right there at the beginning, and then we realized we got to stop this.
Right.
We got to do something different. So he called a time out. He yelled at us again,
right.
And then we came back out there and we just said no more. We got to get a stop, and so we tried, and then we went in halftime and we were down 14, maybe
something like that. It had been. I think it had been as high as 18, and then we went on at the very end though. I think we went on like an 8-3 run, where we hit 2 shots, then they hit a 3, then we hit 2 more shots. But again, it was just that clawing back, and that had to have been frustrating for them, for Cookeville, because I'm sure they were thinking, "Oh, we've got this, and all of a sudden, no, they don't, just won't go away, right? So, and that's there was a lot of what I saw out there was. Because this is going to happen to basketball teams. Some basketball teams are going to have bad nights shooting. It's just going to happen. Either maybe the legs are tired, maybe it's a different environment, but for whatever reason, or maybe there's a lot of ticky-tack calls, the momentum. It's hard to let momentum just go, and basketball's a very rhythm game. But what I kept seeing was it's like it doesn't matter how rough of a night we're having. We're too proud to just lay down. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. And I saw that the whole night, and that was so fun to watch. And it was fun to watch as we almost kept creeping back, but just the pride there. And that was actually, I watched y'all play Meigs County. I think y'all beat them by about 20 or 30. But to me, that was the first night I'd seen y'all play where it was like, okay, here's White County basketball when things are going good, but how do they react when things aren't going good? And that was such a cool experience for me to be able to, for me to be my first, I hate that we lost, but for my first experience streaming a White County basketball game, that showed me a lot of character there. And I think that's a cool thing for me. That'll be as I tell stories later on about streaming you guys and talking to you guys in interviews, my first experience was there's a lot of pride last night. And of course, I'm sure that's been instilled in y'all for years. I mean, that's a historic program. Both those programs were, for that matter, both huge, long history. As they said, I think before the game, one of the best rivalries in Tennessee and stuff like that. So,
absolutely.
So now so I guess that's been probably your 7th or 8th Cookeville basketball game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just about, yeah.
Gotcha. Now, how many years have you been a starter?
Well, a starter, since junior year.
Junior year, okay, gotcha. So that was last year, correct? Gotcha. Now, did you see any playing time your freshman year?
My freshman year, yeah. I played kind of in the lower minutes when there was like 2 minutes left, and then during the district championship.
Okay.
Or the district tournament, that's when I played a lot. I got one of the all tournament teams or whatever was awarded that, and that's when I started to get some playing time. And then the next year I was kind of a 6th man type situation, and then it led into starting, and then here we are.
There you go. Now, excuse me for getting my positioning right here. Are you a 4 or a 5? Or a 3? Or a 3? Are you? That's kind of a question. Yeah.
We're at a weird stage, so I guess there's a lot of weird names now for positions and everything. So I'm kind of like a power forward.
Okay, power forward.
So that's kind of where I can play post. I can play out on the wing if I need to, and if I need to handle the ball, I can.
Well, that's kind of what I was having a hard time with, because there were times, if you look up sometimes, you might say, well, she's a 5. She's down there right near the goal. But then other times you're higher up the key, and is she a 3? Is she a this? I don't really see you bringing the ball down the court as much as the 1, so it's like, well, we can kind of X out that, but it seemed like you were just kind of wherever they need you to be, and so that's kind of why I was like, well, I guess she's somewhere between a 3 and 5, something like that. So, so that's, now is that just try to be inflexible, or just using different skill sets?
Well, whenever I was little, I was always just a straight 5. I always was just beaten and banged in there. And in high school, I kind of had to change up a little bit because I needed to be able to do more than just be a big post, and because I'm not as tall as most girls, like I'm not a big 6-footer.
Right.
So I kind of have to be able to go out there and shoot a 3 or be able to handle the ball. So, and for our team, I think it's a good asset to be able to like help the team in any way and just to be there for whatever we need.
Well, I think you see it a lot of times, especially when you're playing in junior high. A lot of times, there are smaller junior high schools, right? And then they tend to combine at the high school level, right? So you'll see, I've known a lot of people that they were that 5 because they were the tallest kid in the school at that time. Then when they get their junior and senior year, well, they're not the tallest kid anymore. And sometimes if they don't adapt their game, they kind of fade off. And then others adapt and keep going, or maybe they shoot a growth spurt. Or there's sometimes those kids that are actually short in junior high, and at the high school level they shoot up, and then they're like, "Well, I'm not used to playing big. I don't know what do you mean play with my back to the court, back to the goal, right?" So they have to learn those post moves and they have to learn how to be that physical player. So now, who plays the 5 for y'all a lot?
Well,
Or is that because y'all have do y'all use more of a hybrid system where other players can play different positions?
yeah,
somewhere
that's
else?
kind of, well, like me, Celeste, and Ava, we all kind of play the post. We can go out to the wing, shoot. If we need to bring the ball down, we can. So we don't really have a strict 5.
Gotcha.
We're kind of just everywhere.
Gotcha. Well, using speed, passing, different things like that. So now, last year as well, y'all were known as a big 3-point shooting team, correct? Gotcha.
Well,
or was it last year or the year before?
The sophomore year.
Sophomore year, okay.
That's when we had Gracie, and she broke a bunch of records, and we actually that year we broke like the state record as a team.
Okay.
Like most threes made in the game, and so.
Gotcha. Now we also shot a lot of threes last night. We just weren't hitting last night. Mm-mm. Not as consistent as we needed to get that win. But I mean, I think that's the thing for basketball. You can't look at one game. You have to look at a whole season, the law of big numbers. And because, you start thinking about if we had hit 3 or 4 more of those threes. Yeah. I mean, we had the potential to – it's crazy to look at that we ended up losing, I think, by maybe 12 points, but that could have swung the other way. We could have even beaten them by 15 or something points. But you have to take your shots. You have to make sure you hit the shots and things like that. So, but I love the fact where what I loved watching was, okay, this isn't working. Well, let's try this. Well, this isn't working. And then this is working for a while. This isn't. Let's go. It's you. The thing I loved watching you guys last night was you didn't just get stuck on one thing. Okay, this isn't working. Let's go move something else. Let's keep playing. You'd change defenses up. You'd start to double team. We'd start doing different things like that. And y'all gave them such a great game from the start of the whistle to the end. Like y'all just wouldn't let go. And it was really fun to watch. What do you think the strength of y'all's team is so far this year?
I think whenever we play as a team, as we play really aggressive, like every one of us, when we're all there together, I think it's a force to reckon with.
Yeah,
honestly.
for sure, yeah.
I think you can look at the Warren County game and just everyone was playing, I think, with a lot of effort, real aggressively, and I just think whenever we play connected and we're there and we're hitting shots, I think it's just we're a whole different team.
Yep. Now, Coach Dodgen was saying, I think he was telling me that there's 6 seniors.
There's 5.
There's 5 seniors. Okay, there's 6 seniors maybe last year or.
Last year we had 2.
Yeah, 2. Okay, that's right. This was the team that was good. Okay, yeah, there we go. That's right. So 5 seniors, and then So goals for y'all. Y'all been together. Have y'all all been together this whole time at the high school level?
Yeah, we've actually been together since we were in about elementary school.
Okay.
My dad, he was our what is it? Our AAU coach.
Yes.
That's what for years, and then our team split up a little bit once we started high school, and everybody went to different teams. But we've been together since we were itty bitty.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. So this season, going into this season, I mean, and y'all have had big games, been to, I think, district championship, different things like that. In fact, the state champion, the current 3A state champion that's in your district with upper men and stuff like that. Yeah. So what has been for y'all, just specifically as seniors, what's been y'all's mentality? I mean, people can give, to win, to do this and this, but what has been y'all's specific mentality going? What's made, guys, what do we want to do this season? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's been y'all's MO this season?
Well, I think we take a lot of pride in being together as a team, being a really strong team, caring for the girls, and we're just all kind of there for each other. And so we do a lot of stuff outside of like just the gym, like together. Like we'll have a bunch of little like just recently we had like a Thanksgiving party, like
That's
a little
awesome.
Teamsgiving.
Yeah.
And so we take a lot of pride in we're not just a team, we're a family. And so I think we were just like, we're gonna get our family first, and then we're gonna and then we'll grow from there. So like we have a lot of good underclassmen coming up, and so we're helping them lead into their role. And so I think obviously we want to go to state and
Right.
win.
Right.
And so I think right now we're just trying to help everyone grow into that position to where we can be there.
Right. Well, I think I asked that question. It can sound like there's an obvious answer, but the thing is, there's a high school somewhere at the edge of Tennessee and at the other end of Tennessee. Every team in the state says will tell you, "Oh, we want to win state," but it's the choosing to what are you going to do to try to get there. And obviously, y'all are saying, if we're a family and we're playing together, we can beat anybody. Mm-hmm. If we're separated at all, we can lose any game. And so for y'all, that family, that's what y'all are saying. That's where we want. If we're a family, if we're a strong unit, we can beat any team in the state.
Absolutely.
And that comes from not only just what y'all want individually. It does come. There's this tradition. It's almost like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's almost kind of like, look, we know White Cane's tradition. We know who our people are. We know where we've came from. Mm-hmm. If we take that and we're a family. We can do it though. Mm-hmm. We can make history. We can be just like those teams in the past and even better. Mm-hmm. So now what was that like when you were growing up coming into the program? Did you go see a lot of ball games when you were young?
Well, my sister, she played
okay.
whenever she was in high school. And so whenever I was little, I was always at the games.
Right.
And so I was always there, and I was always in the big White County atmosphere with all the fans and everything like that. And it was just, it's always been awesome growing in it, and I've always wanted to be in it. Right. And always just be, because I love playing in our court, because like our bleachers are just right there, and it's just like everyone's in your face. And so, and I love that. And so watching my sister do that, and her team, they actually were like the last team to go to sub-state in like 2015 or something like that. Okay. And so I've always wanted it to be a goal to surpass her.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely.
And I've always wanted us to be another banner on that wall.
Yeah, absolutely.
And just make our mark.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you an interesting story about that gym, and I've had a few experiences. But so I guess it was back in May, the last day of school. I showed up. I wanted to make the girls' soccer team as far as doing all this, but I made it a point. I wanted to make sure I came and people, they saw a face, and that's who they were. And I remember walking in, and I'd talked to the team, and I remember I walked into the gym and I looked up and I saw this amazing gym, but it was quiet. There was nobody in there, but I looked in there and I said, "There's 100 years of tradition with this program, and there's pride here." And golly, and I did a little research before I got there, and I knew some of the stories, and just from somebody who hasn't ever been connected to it, you can feel that. And then you take somebody like you who's been in it and who's lived it. I mean, that's got to be such a rich tradition to be a part of. And to be able to put your mark on that and put that banner up there. And the cool thing is some schools don't have a lot of banners because they haven't done a lot of success, but you're getting to be a part of that legacy there have been Warrior basketball players from the 60s, 70s, 40s, 30s. I mean, looking at all the trophy cases and just looking at all the history and the statue. I mean, it was an experience for somebody who had no connection to it. Just walking in there. So I guess what I'm saying is sometimes when you grow up in something, you don't have perspective about how special it can be. But I can just tell you, walking in the first time and just looking around for a minute, it's a special place. Yeah, it's a special place without any context. And now getting to watch there, the games are fun, the crowds are in it. I mean, it's a special place, and it's to get to watch the students, the band, the Warrior media, the cheerleaders. I mean, it's a fun place it's an amazing tradition to be able to.
And that's what I love. I love the community. Like there's so many, I always realized it watching my sister, like how many people would come up to her and all this stuff. I always realized, but being there, it's so much more because you have people you have never met in your life coming up to you and just saying, "Great game, love watching you. I've watched you since your freshman year," and so it's something that's so special. Honestly,
absolutely.
like
Yeah.
it's just awesome knowing that you have this entire community just there supporting you no matter what.
Absolutely.
And so that's one thing that I just love, and it's always been there, and I think it'll always be there.
That's one thing I've also noticed as well. I've worked in different schools, but I've also been to a lot of basketball games over the years. I've streamed ball games for schools in the past, and there are those high schools that in their communities, for whatever reason, maybe the way they evolved, different things, when things are going great, they're there.
Yeah.
And when things are going great, they're positive.
Yeah.
Things start going negative, they start leaving early. They start, do this different or do that, or won't you do this? You know, I haven't had that experience here yet. When I've come to a crowd and I've heard the crowds, it's just like they love you guys. Win or lose, no matter what happens. They get mad at the referee a little bit, right? That might happen every once in a
They're a
while.
rowdy bunch.
I think they kept saying something last night about replace your stencil. That's what they're yelling, right? We're going to go with that, right? They're not saying anything about a whistle.
Yeah.
They were like, replace your stencil. I was like, okay, I get you there. I hear you. I hear what you're putting down there. So, but no, they just love you guys. I mean, they support you guys, and that's got to be a fun environment to play in. You know, you're completely loved. Let's go out there and play hard, and I think that also. I mean, how can you not love you guys? Y'all play with pride. Y'all play with that a different swagger, and not an arrogant swagger. Just you play for more. That wearing that maroon and gray is a special experience. It's special just to watch you guys play. I remember walking in last night, and of course I'm nervous. My very first game to stream, and I'm walking up, and I looked to my. I think it was way before the girl. It's like an hour before the girls' game started, and y'all walked in, and even just y'all's jerseys, that dark maroon and gray. I was like, well, that is just a really cool, it's just a cool pattern, it's a cool uniform, but that comes from just a lot of pride in that program. So,
Absolutely.
And it was such a neat thing to watch that, and, you know, it makes other teams want to put up beat Sparta and all that stuff. But I mean, when you're that team to beat, when you're that team that teams, and they know when they play you guys, man, we're going to have to play from the start all the way to the finish. They just will not go away. So now, what was your sister's name?
Bella Taylor.
Bella Taylor. Okay, gotcha. So I haven't got to meet her yet, but does she get to come to any games?
Yeah, I think she's actually been to everyone so far.
Okay, cool beans.
So she tries to come to all of them.
Good. That's awesome. Well, like I said, I hadn't got to meet her. I didn't get to really meet you yet. I've just seen you around and stuff. Me and Coach Dodgen talked about getting the seniors on here and stuff. So he said he wanted you on there first. So I don't know who the senior is next week, but we'll certainly be looking at that in the next coming weeks. We'll have different seniors coming on each show, and we'll get the boys on here next week. Coach Mitchell and the seniors will be here next week, their first interview for boys basketball, so that'll be fun. Now, who do y'all have coming up this next week?
I think is it Upperman?
Well, aren't we going to Shelbyville?
I think Upperman's home the next week. I think
That's right. Yes. So we're going to Shelbyville and we're playing Upperman at home. Now, that being said, it's not our official school rival. Obviously, that was last night, and we get to play them against Sparta.
Yeah.
But in district, who is the team that y'all rival with the most in district?
Well, right now I think it's Upperman.
Okay, it's Upperman. Okay.
That is last year it hurt us because we beat them 2 times regularly, and then in the district championship they whooped us.
Okay.
I'm gonna put it straight.
Okay.
And we weren't there, and so it ate us alive, and we want to go in there and we want to absolutely wreck them. And I love the girls on Upperman. Like I'm big buddies with them, but we want to beat them bad.
Right. Well, you know, Caitlin Young in girls soccer said that. She goes, I've got buddies after him, but I really want to beat them. And when they beat him, that was a special thing. She actually scored the winning goal that day. But I was like, okay, really? They were like, yeah, playing Livingston's fun, playing other places is fun, but we'd really like to beat up from it. I was like, okay, well, there you go. So so y'all played and beat them twice last season.
Twice, yeah.
But you didn't get to play in the region tournament. Y'all got knocked out by
I think it was Page. I think it was Page because they were like the best team in the state, and we and they lost in an upset. And so we had to play them in our first region game, and so it was rough stuff.
Now, where was the region tournament at?
We got to host the first.
Gotcha.
Our first region game.
So that's kind of that was kind of a disappointment, I guess you might say, just to kind of like, but so maybe you might be coming back with unfinished business, I guess.
Absolutely,
Because you can win or lose any game. It can definitely happen, but I'm sure y'all like, we want to get past that, and but also not let it stick. It's a whole new season. You got to play that season, and it's funny. I'm in the minority here with this. You hear about people saying, well, we won state, so we're defending the state championship, or we're the defending district, or we're the defending region. And I've always looked at that and said, no matter what you do, you're never going to win that one back. Mm-hmm. So you're not really, how are you really defending? Like with a title, you're defending that title, right? But when you win a state championship, or a district championship, or a region championship, or a subset championship, that's yours forever. That's what you did right there. And if you didn't win it, you have to move on and try to win the next year. Yeah. So it's a whole new season, a whole new thing. But I'm sure now, have they been preseason projected to be one of the best in the district?
They were actually supposed to be number one.
Okay, gotcha.
So there's a big real title on it.
Gotcha. Now, who isn't all in the district? You got Upperman, Livingston.
Us. You have Macon County. Stone. Mm-hmm. And we're missing one more, aren't we?
I think so. Cumberland County.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. So, or Crossville. It's funny around here. I'll sit there and talk to them, and they'll say, "I went to high school in Crossville." Which one?
Yeah.
But see, like 40 years ago, that one they was just one high school.
Yeah.
They just had the one, I guess, Cumberland County High School. But someone who's kind of new to the area, I'm thinking, well, which one in Crossville? Because there's two different ones. There's Stone and there's Cumberland, so it's just an interesting perspective to be able to come in here and become a transplant here. But it's a wonderful place to be, so it really is a special place here. But I can talk about that all day long. But so now, who else in the district is kind of a close? Who are the big three, I guess you might say?
Well, I would say Cumberland County for sure.
They're really good.
They are. They're tough.
Right.
And so watching them play, they play with a lot of fire. And then I'd also say Livingston.
Livingston, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I would say Upperman, Livingston, and Cumberland County.
The first time I ever heard about Livingston myself, so a little bit of history about myself. When I was in high school, I played football. Mm-hmm. I was the basketball mascot. About that, that's right. That's where I got a little bit of the yelling there, which we were the Pioneers. Yeah. So there was no face. You could see my face. I was in a straight up Davy Crockett. Oh, yes.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yes, that was me. And then during the spring, I played my freshman, sophomore year. We didn't have a soccer team, so I played tennis.
Yeah.
Which is kind of now why I'm coaching it.
Yeah.
But then we got a soccer my junior and senior year. I played soccer. I always loved soccer. But my first experience with Livingston County was the state tournament. Mm-hmm. And I'd never even heard of that school. We were just back in West Tennessee. We'd never heard of Livingston or Upperman or any of these schools. And so we go there. We ended up losing the first round of the state tournament. But they were a good team. And then years later, when they finally won their first state championship, they beat Livingston County. Yeah. So that was a big moment for them. But I always thought they were a private school growing up because the academy word in there. But no, it's actually just a public school over there in Crossville. They got the hog eye tradition over there. But of course, you grow. It's interesting now. All those teams that I grew up hearing about at the state tournament way over there, they're here. Yeah. They're normal to this. Yeah. To they're common to this area. So I'm sure y'all have had a lot of amazing games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Every time we play any of those teams, it is a battle. Right. Like it's always right there, going back and forth, and they're fun games to play because it's just going at each other the entire game.
Right.
And so it's always just a fun time.
Gotcha. Now is DeKalb in the district?
I don't think so.
Okay, or are they maybe 2A, or are they? I'm not sure if they're lower.
There was so much moving around.
Right.
Like, because Cookville went up, we stayed, and so there was a bunch moving around. So I honestly still don't have it straight.
Well, because they went to 4 classifications.
Yeah.
So we were 3A before that, but now we're the new 3A, where there's another 4A above the 3A. So which is cool. That's a really cool situation. Now, I guess we'll have Livingston here probably in a couple of weeks, but that may occur. I guess, will this open up district play for us?
I don't know.
With Upperman? Like, will Upperman be the first
I-
district game?
No, we played, will that be the first district game?
I think it is. 'Cause we've played Megs, we've played, so we played Sequatchie.
Well, we played Tullahoma, Sevier,
Yeah.
and then, that's 3. And then we played Warren County,
Okay.
and then Cookville.
So I think this will be y'all's first district,
yeah.
and you'll go there and a home. So of course a lot of schools don't even start playing district games until January.
Yeah.
That's kind of a thing. But I'm sure service schools in different ways.
Yeah.
So you get to kind of have maybe a preview to the district championship earlier in the year. So that'd be kind of cool. So that'll be definitely cool. I'm sure they're really proud. Of course, they've also. Both high schools have a great basketball tradition, and I'm sure that and that's what also makes it cool too. Sometimes you think, well, it'd be nice to play an easier game here, or easier game there, but it's also got to be a lot of fun when you're playing. When you're playing with pride, they're playing with pride. That makes it an amazing game, and those fun experiences. I mean, I'm sure it's fun to put up 30 on a team that's not that good, but it doesn't feel as special as when both teams really, really want to win.
Well, you can even say, going from last year, you can say we're playing the best teams in the state.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
And so that's always an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
Because we have such a tough district region, and so it's just we are playing competition every game.
Right. Well, you're also not having I think this happens to a lot of schools out in West Tennessee, maybe in Far East Tennessee. They'll have a great season. They'll say, well, that was good, but I wonder what's that lurking up there at the state tournament, or I wonder who's over there. But when you're in this district, you're almost like, yeah, we've seen the best. Now we have to just go win it, right? So, I mean, that's to know you're playing some of the best teams in the state. And that also goes the other way around. Like when Upperman comes over here, they're like, well, yes, we did beat them once last year. They also beat us twice. And that's got to be in the back of their head. Like, this is not going to be. I think they went in as a 4 seed. So Coach Johnson said that they went into the 4 seed. So in their head, they've got to be thinking, yes, we did advance. Yes, we did some special things, but nothing's guaranteed.
Yeah.
We may go in there. I mean, clearly, 2 out of 3 games last year, we didn't beat this team, and they, I'm not sure how close the games were, but so that's got to be daunting for them to know we're the defending state champions, and we lost that team twice last year. Like in a series, we weren't even better than White County, and we're the state champs.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's got to be a daunting experience. No, that'll be at home, correct?
Yeah.
So that'll be at Roy Sewell Gymnasium. Is it gymnasium or is that what they call it? Roy Sewell Gymnasium. So I pronounced that right. Roy Sewell. So cool beans. Yeah, there's so much history to learn, and I'd like to meet Miss Pinky, I think is what her name, the older lady that comes to a lot of basketball games. Yeah. So there's so many cool people to meet and new traditions to see and everything like that. Of course, I won't be streaming any of the home games. I do just the away games because Warrior Me does an amazing job. Candace Allen, I say this probably once a week. Candace Allen, literally, if you haven't seen, we'll have to have her on the show sometime to talk to her. I mean, I've had soccer players that were in the program and just watching them in football. I mean, the videos they put out, the messaging they put out, I think it's helped. And I don't want to say it's a side effect, but I think it's been a huge boost to even the minor sports because they put out so much info. People know when there's a girls' soccer game. People know when there's a volleyball game. People know when there's so many things.
Well, what's awesome about it is I think that's happened because it's student led.
Yes, absolutely.
So all those students are I'm interclass.
Right.
And so all those students that play soccer, play tennis, play all the other sports, they're interclass.
Right.
And so they're making their own graphics. They're doing all this stuff. And so it's really awesome. And I love having her class every day. And she does stuff with us all the time. Like she let me and my buddy Josiah actually have it's a podcast for the school.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And so there's so many opportunities there, and she's just done so much stuff for sports. And it's being a sports player, it's just so awesome.
Yep. Well, getting to watch her, what I've also loved too is there have been times, because I do English as a second language at the school, I do tech. So I'm in a lot of different schools a lot of different times. So I'm coming in at different hours all the time. You might see me at 1, 10. I mean, it just depends on the situation that day. But you'll walk the hallways, and that interview that aired at 8:30, it's on there again in the hallway. It's just it's a constant going, and so it creates so much exposure for so many different groups and so many different interviews. I've never seen a better program. I've literally never been, and I've been at 4 different high schools. I've never seen a better media program than here. I don't know if there is a better one actually.
Yeah.
I mean, because they just do such a great job. So, when we decided to do the streaming of the ball games, our thing was, listen, they've got a great thing going at the home games. Let them do that. It's amazing. We were just thinking they don't get to go to all the away games.
Yeah.
So, what's a way we could bring the expositor? What's the way the expositor could kind of fill in the gap?
Yeah.
And so that's where all this came about, and so bringing the maroon and gray on the road. So basically it's an extension of this show, but we're getting to stream all those games, and it was a lot of fun last night.
Yeah.
And but that's what we want to do with all that. So now any Warrior or Warriorette fan out there in any state, anywhere they can watch your games, no matter if it's there or at home. So and that's a special experience because there are those people out there that would love to watch, but just they can't be here. So, but it's special. But either way, so real quick little shout out. How many years did you play tennis?
Since my freshman year.
Since your freshman year, okay. Now who are your coaches?
So my freshman year was Joe Goff.
Joe Goff, okay.
And then he left, and then I had Hannah Leftwich.
Okay, yes.
And then my junior year, I had first it was Mr. Copeland, but he had to leave,
right.
and so then it was Topher stepped up.
Gotcha.
And then here we are.
There we go. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Which, by the way, if you've wondered, we already had a meeting at McDonald's. We've already been talking about planning the season out, so we're really excited about that. And one thing I told him when I took over, I said, Topher, listen, you really know tennis. Mm-hmm. Everybody I've talked to has vouched for you. He really knows tennis. But I said, and that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to work with him. But I also said, listen, I don't want to just take the team over, throw the balls out there, and let's go. We're going to try to have a team. We're going to try to become a family, and try to make sure that's it's something special to play tennis for White County. So I've been learning some of the history of it, the traditions. So I can't wait to work with it. And it's going to be so cool because yes, I get to learn this history, kind of build that team, build that program, and have a good year. But to have somebody with that much expertise to kind of lean on and say, hey, listen, I could help teaching this kid how to serve or teach how to do this, teach how to do that. So I'm definitely excited about that. We got a lot of time before that's going to happen, right? We got a lot. Y'all hopefully got a trip to Murfreesboro before all that happens. But that being said, when that does come up, I'll be excited about that. That'd be a lot of fun to be able to get to do that. I wasn't expecting for that to come up at the start of the year. I thought I was doing I wasn't expecting to do any of this when I first got here. I was just doing girls soccer and having a blast.
Yeah.
But there you go. The Lord opens certain doors and closes certain doors, doesn't he? So either way. Well, Nia, thank you for coming on the show. Anytime you want to come on the show, we'd love to have you. We'll be getting the other seniors here in the next few weeks, and then once we get all the seniors on, we'll have different interviews. If y'all want to come back on, like towards the postseason and stuff like that, we'll get you guys going. But like I said, there's 5 seniors. So I've got 5 weeks of seniors with you guys, and then we'll have different people come on. And so anytime you want to come on the show, I'd love to have you. And like I said, strong game last night. Y'all played with a lot of pride. I loved it. Can't wait to watch y'all play Upperman and who's that? Who's ever playing? Shelbyville. Yeah, can't wait to watch you guys play that. And I'll be at Shelbyville. The Maroon and Gray will be on the road at Shelbyville, and I'll have to come out and watch the Roy Sewell as y'all hopefully go 1-0 in the district this week. And so.
Can't wait.
Sounds great. Well, Nia, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Nia Powers here with girls basketball and Warriorette. Let me make sure I correct that. Warriorette basketball and Warriorette tennis. That was one of the first things I was told day one. Day one. They stopped me in the hallway and they said, listen, it's Warriorette. I said, yes, sir. I understand. So Nia Powers with Warriorette basketball and Warriorette tennis, and I look forward to seeing you guys this week. They have, again, Shelbyville away and then Upperman at home. It may be the other way around, but those two teams. One of the two. And before we go as well, I would like to thank our sponsors one more time for making this broadcast possible. We have Cheek Insurance Agency, Franks, and Wallace Insurance Agency. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor, we'd love to have you. Just come. Feel free to call Kim Wood, the expositor, and we can get you on there. We're looking for more sponsors for both the Maroon and Gray Saturday show and for Maroon Gray on the road. So either way, we appreciate you guys. Y'all have a great day. God bless and go White County.